Okay, it's 9 o'clock. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'll begin with our land acknowledgement. At the Township of Severn, we recognize the following land acknowledgement. We would like to begin by acknowledging the land on which we gather, in which the Township of Severn operates, as part of the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe. For thousands of years, Indigenous peoples have been inhabiting and caring for this land. In particular, we acknowledge the territory of the Ojibwe or Chippewas peoples. This territory is covered by the Lake Simcoe Treaty 16 and the Jake Collins land purchase. We are grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land, and by doing so, give our respect to its first inhabitants. Now we'll sing O Canada, please.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love, in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true North, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Thank you. Now we'll have a moment of reflection, please. Thank you. Disclosure of pecuniary interest. Seeing none, no public meetings, no presentations, consent agenda. Would any member of council like to pull any items? Deputy Mayor Cox.
Yes, I'd like to pull H 2.6, please.
Okay, any others? Okay, seeing none, Madam Clerk, do you have a motion?
Your motion reads that the agenda be adopted, including consent items, with the exception of item H 2.6.
Mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Jansen, second by Councillor Taylor. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. We've adopted the regular agenda. Reports from officials. K1, New Business, Association of Municipalities of Ontario, Conference Delegations. Are there any delegations that any members of council would like to have? So I do have one with council's permission. I received an email from Carmen Stumpo, and he's looking for support for a delegation before the Minister of Finance, if that's possible. I think what he's done is he's reached out to all the mayors in the surrounding area and asked that we all, if that's possible, if we can do that. I don't know, Madam Clerk or Madam CEO, did you want to speak?
Your worship, thank you. I just wanted to clarify, is he asking for us to support his delegation request? Because I think council would be happy to do that, but it seems to me that would be something that the hospital would lead and we would just support.
So here's what he said.
I'm not sure we would have enough in depth to make our own presentation.
But I think what he's looking for is that if we can get a time slot with the Minister of Finance, he would be the one that would speak for us. It wouldn't be up to us to say, like what he says here is we would like to request a deputation to the Ministries of Finance, Infrastructure and Treasury Board if we're all agreeable, I will proceed with the request. I am not sure if we will get them all, but I will ask and see how successful we will be. We can sort out our attendings closer to the date. I'm not sure. Okay, Madam CEO, sorry.
Yeah, I may. So thank you, through your worship. That clarified it for me. He's making the request. He's asking council to support their request, which I can't
So we
imagine
don't have.
wouldn't be happy to do so.
Okay. Councillor Brennan, did you want to?
I think the deputy mayor had asked her hand up for me.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see Deputy Mayor Cox. Go ahead.
Yeah, through the chair. So that means that he's applying to get one, or are we doing it for him? Because the last time we did it for him, and he met us, sat with him, and he spoke.
Madam CEO.
You could, through you, your worship, you could leave it open that staff communicate with Mr. Stumpo and see what he would like. Sometimes municipalities have a better shot than the hospital, but we would need him to help us with the ask for sure.
Okay.
So
That
he
sounds
may
like a
want
good
us to
plan.
support him in some way, or he may want us to take the lead, and it's not 100% clear, but if council's so inclined, you can give us direction to work with him to figure that out.
That's perfect. So I think just to the Deputy Mayor's comments, we did the last time and he did come up and we just were there for support, but he did speak. But we applied on his behalf, but that's great. If you want to reach out to him and just so that we don't lose the chance to apply, if council's okay with that. Any further comments? Okay, Madam Clerk, do you have a motion?
Oh, I believe Member Brennan wanted to speak.
Oh, sorry.
Councillor
Councillor
Brennan.
Is this a delegation for AMO or is this outside of the AMO realm?
For AMO.
This would be one of the
This is AMO.
scheduled traditional AMO delegations.
Yeah, okay. So I think you've clarified it there. If he's going to do the speaking and we're doing the support, because I would agree with the CAO. Carmine is a great speaker and he knows the subject like we will never know it.
So I think what he's looking for, maybe I wasn't, he's looking, I think, for all the municipalities that this hospital serves, applying in hopes of securing a seat so that he could speak. It wouldn't be us. It would be himself that would join us, and we would only be there for support. But it wouldn't be us speaking. Okay, Madam Clerk.
Okay, the motion reads that the Township of Severn submit a delegation request on the following topic for the 2024 AMO conference. The delegation to the Minister of Finance and Minister of Infrastructure for Orillia Soldiers Memorial Hospital with Carmine Stumpo.
Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Minis, did you want to speak?
Thanks. Sorry, I was expecting the motion to say that we're going to direct the township staff to coordinate whatever the ask is, rather than go directly to the delegation motion.
Madam Clerk.
Thank you. So the delegation requests have to be submitted before the end of the week. So if it is in fact that we are the ones that need to submit the delegation requests for soldiers to appear, then staff would need that direction in writing that we have concurrence from council to actually submit the delegation request and not just direction. I hope that helps.
So I think we want to, if we can, and I think if you reach out to Carmen today or tomorrow, if we only have until Friday, he's looking to secure a spot to speak at AMO, but he's the one that's going to be speaking, as I said, not us.
So if you want, I could, member Minnings, I could change that to with or on behalf of.
Thank you, through the mayor. Yeah, I'd prefer just some kind of a notation because we are only one township that the hospital is serviced by, and certainly the city of Orillia is where it's located. So I'm not sure that we're the ones who are making that. I'm just not clear on the ask either. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Cox.
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Minnings. What Carmen is probably looking for is the same as he looked for the last time we went when he was looking for funding. Is he wants all the municipalities that support the hospital and utilize the hospital to put forward a motion to go for a delegation, and then he speaks on it, because he's right. And what he's always said is the province needs to understand that the hospital is situated in Orillia, but it services all the other townships. And when you get that part, it's like a regional hospital. And that's what he wants the government to understand, is that we are all behind everything that hospital is doing.
Councillor Brennan.
Yeah, at the risk of stating the obvious, so I have no problem with them building a hospital in Severn. They can't build it in Orillia anyway.
So just to clarify, Councillor Minnings, he's unsure if he applies himself, whether or not he'll secure a spot with the ministry. So what he's asked Ramera, Oromadante, Severn to also apply in the hopes that he secures one spot so that he's able to at least attend and speak about the hospital and the funding. Madam CEO.
Yeah, thank you. Just to be clear, I will speak to Mr. Stumpo as soon as I can, because I would like to talk to him about whether applying collectively or in a scattergun approach is more appropriate. I think what you're describing, Mayor Burkett, is a scattergun approach, which may be the approach. I'm not sure. I personally, I think it might be more effective if, we chat with, I'm sure Oro, Romero, and Orillia will also be on board to say, let's put a collective delegation in. To be fair, my guess is as good as anyone else, because sometimes we get delegations that we didn't expect to get, and we don't get delegations that we really want. So before we apply, I just want to have a conversation with them about what is the approach here. Do you want to take a scattergun that we each apply? Because then we could, in theory, have 5 delegations on the same topic, or do we want to take a collective approach? And he's been doing it longer than I have, so he'll have some advice. But we'll have that conversation before Friday, before we have to put in our delegation request.
Perfect, thank you. Does that clarify it, Councillor Minnings?
Yes, thank you, it does. And however, the motion would still read that we would put in a request. So it's all dependent on the conversation the CEO has.
Okay, thank you. Councillor, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, and I've made that notation in the minutes too, so.
Okay, mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Brennan, second by Councillor Jansen. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. K2, Coldwater BIA resignation. Who would like to speak to that? Madam Clerk.
Thank you. So unfortunately, we've had a member resign from the Coldwater BAA. So at this point in time, just need council to accept the resignation and give them direction that they are to fill it at their next annual general meeting, which I understand is in late September, early October. So
okay, perfect. Mover and do you need to read a motion, or do I need to move in a second?
So the motion to read that the resignation by Georgianne Gilchrist from the Coldwater BAA board be accepted, and that the Coldwater BAA board be directed to fill the vacancy at their next annual general meeting.
Okay, mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Deputy Mayor Cox, second by Councillor Jansen. Oh, Madam CEO, did you want to speak before we?
I just thought if I guess I don't get to propose friendly amendments, but it might be nice to say accepted with regrets.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Moving back. Do we do announcements first or go back to 2.6?
We go back to 2.6.
Deputy Mayor Cox.
Yep, through the chair. Can we also thank her for her work on there, because it is volunteer?
Yes, she'll get through you, Your Worship. She will get a letter from me thanking her for
Thank you very much.
Perfect. Okay, Deputy Mayor Cox, your 2.6, Township of Tay, Severn Sound Environmental Association.
Okay, as we all know, it's on the agenda. We got a report and a request from Tay to support the motion. I am in favor of continuing on with the SSEA, as we all probably are, but I would also like to say that I don't think that the SSEA directors or the employees got a copy of this letter. So I would like to say that we forward this letter to the SSEA Board of Directors and allow the Board of Directors to deal with this, as it is a decision from the board. And I think clerk has a motion that we could hear, and then if anybody wants to speak to it, they could.
Any members of Councillor Taylor, did you want to speak to it?
We hear the motion first, please.
Okay, let's hear the motion, Madam Clerk.
Thank you. So the motion reads that the correspondence from the Township of Tay regarding Severn Sound Environmental Association, SSEA, be received, and that the correspondence be referred to the SSEA Board of Directors for review.
Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, just this agreement hasn't been looked at since 2009, and I think, in all fairness, it should be reviewed, and then hopefully the board will agree to that to make sure that the funding is fair across the board. And yeah, so I would support that it would go back to SSEA board members, and it should be reviewed and to make sure it's fair across all 8 municipalities.
Okay, Councillor Brennan.
Yeah. Okay, I'm a little confused with this. First of all, I don't have a problem with reviewing it, but not based on what I read in that letter. A comprehensive review is probably required for more reasons than are outlined there, and I think in a more balanced format. There's lots of changes that have occurred in the last few years around, especially around environmental issues, and biodiversity monitoring and planning, climate change functions, wetlands evaluations. I spoke yesterday to the senior policy person, Bonnie Angela, of the Conservation Ontario, and it's interesting. You must have seen in your email already that their manager is doing a free webinar next Friday on changes to the Conservation Act. And I think you have to measure what the SSEA does against certain pillars, and what CAs do is one of them. And there's different things in the Act that they're involved with. There's required stuff, there's municipal stuff, there's optional stuff. I think if you're going to evaluate value, then you need to do it in the context of what the alternatives are. And this proposal, but I don't have any objection at all to what they're going to do. And I suppose at the end of the day, some of the 8 townships will do what they want. But this particular proposal, as far as I'm concerned, would have to be revisited. If someone's going to bring that back to this council, I'm going to want a lot more answers than that. Thank you.
Yep. Or we'll let Madam CEO go ahead.
Thank you. I've been thinking a lot about this topic because I think for us, SSEA is incredibly valuable and we could not do it alone. I'm wondering if council would consider direction to our board representative to, when they have this discussion, to say, we're open to a review. And as Councillor Brennan says, maybe it's a broader review rather than just on money, because they could be doing so much more. However, that would require more money, not less, which is, I think, what some municipalities are looking for. But I'm wondering, and I think this will be a hard sell at the SSEA board, given the flavor of some of these, but if it's going to be reviewed, it should be by a neutral third party that we agree on and pay, which means we would have to, participate in our share, and that would be tough at the board. But certainly I don't have anybody on staff that are capable of reviewing the SSEA services. That's why we have them, to provide those specialty services. And the letter we got had not an unbiased flavor. So I think review is good, but it has to be with somebody who has the ability to do it and doesn't have any skin in the game and can be an unbiased party. So I just wondered if council might want to consider sending that direction.
Deputy Mayor Cox.
Yeah, through the chair. Thank you. You said what I wanted to say. So that's great. I totally agree with you. I was going to say it has to be unbiased. It has to be a consultant. And if we're going to do it, we need to do it once and do it right. Thank you.
Councillor Brennan.
Yeah, I concur with the CAO and the deputy mayor. This kind of a review, I think, could be done um, uh, with a shared cost arrangements. Everyone would benefit, all eight, or at least those that wish to participate. And I hear rumblings that some just don't want to. But if we did a review now without considering the implications of Bill 23 and Bill 185 and where we're going with challenges over the next few years on the whole issue of climate change, if we did that without all of that there's just no way the review would be appropriate. And whether what we decide at the end of the day will be based on an informed council's decision. Thank you.
Councillor Minnies.
Thank you. Through the mayor, I just wanted to state and potentially ask my fellow council members, were it not for this letter from the one township, it's my understanding that our township doesn't have a problem with the amount of money that we contribute to the SSEA. I know that we participated. I was there at a mayor and township meeting with the SSEA where they presented all of the work that they've done. And I know we've had discussions here at council about the cost of doing any one singular study without the benefit of this organization would be more than what we pay on an annual basis. So just to reiterate, unless we also feel that there's a financial cost, I don't know why we would pay for a consultant at this point if things are working well for us. Thank you.
Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, well, I think that it boils down that a lot has changed over 14 years, 15 years. And I guess there's no harm in seeing if the formula is correct. But I had another topic. I was talking to the director yesterday, and our township is really only covered in half. SSEA doesn't do anything for Lake Couchiching or the Severn River or Sparrow Lake. And it would take something that I would have to work with staff and council on how could we expand Severn Sound and to do all of our township and not just part of it. So I don't know whether this is appropriate to do it now or we get through this quagmire. But I'm kind of looking at the CAO I think if she could think about how we would approach, because in all fairness, if you recall, Lake St. George isn't part of it. T Lake isn't part of it. And Sparrow Lake was, they were concerned about invasive species getting in there and they asked for help. And really it's out of the range of Severn Sound, which is really only doing the North River. And that's sort of, and the Severn Sound area by Port Severn. But I'll let the CAO speak to my query on that one.
Madam CAO.
Thank you. So through the chair, to your point, it's probably not an appropriate discussion today, but SSEA works on their watershed. That being said, I know they provide fee-for-service in other places. So if there's something specific that we want them to do somewhere, we can contract with them to do that. So I think it's easily done, but probably not. It doesn't really relate to this specific topic, and probably not a great time to go down that road. Let's solve the crisis of today, and then work on expanding. But I think they would be thrilled to hear that we value their services enough that we would like to expand them rather than not use them.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Deputy Mayor Cox.
Thank you.
So through the chair, then basically what we're saying is we want this to go to the SSEA board, but we are not in agreement with the TAY motion. But we are in agreement that something has to be done. And I think we need to clarify that because I don't want it to go to say that we totally agree with this motion. We agree that there should be a review. If everybody else does, we will work with the review. If no one else wants to do a full review, I'm not comfortable with just doing what this report and motion says.
Madam CAO.
Thank you. I just wanted to maybe clarify a little bit of the deputy mayor's language, because I don't think the message to SSEA is something has to be done because we're happy with the services they get. I think the message is it is always appropriate to review your partnership. So somebody has asked to review the partnership. We are not opposed to a proper review, a proper and complete review of the partnership, not just financial, but in general, what we may wish to expand the services. I'm not sure, but I don't want to get them. I'm sure that the SSEA staff will watch this later, and I just want to be really clear with them that council is very supportive of their services, and we to Councillor Minning's point, if this hadn't come up, we are happy with where things are at, but it is always it is a 14-year-old partnership, and it always is good to review. So as long as it's done properly, we're not opposed to that.
No, and I don't want our member, Taylor, to go back and think that he has to say, yes, we agree with this motion, when really all we're saying is we agree that we really like what they're doing. We may expand, we may not, but a proper review is what we're looking at, not from this motion.
Councillor Brennan.
Yes, thank you. I absolutely agree with the deputy and with the CAO on this, where we're going here. I'm just from the document, I can't recall when this current agreement expires. Does anyone have that information off the top of their head?
Madam CEO?
Well, I haven't looked at it for quite some time, but my understanding is it doesn't expire if members want to be out. I think it's like a 2-year notice period.
Okay. So it's like an evergreen document then?
Yes.
Well, having said that, I just want to emphasize, yeah, we're happy with their services right now. And frankly, I wouldn't be anxious for a review right away. I think the dust hasn't settled on some of the provincial policy things, let alone what might happen federally. I'd kind of like to know the whole ball game before we got into a comprehensive review. But indeed, as Deputy Mayor Cox has said, when we do it, we need to do a comprehensive review on a shared cost basis with those townships that want to be in. Nothing's going to change the fact that some townships may want out or may want less services. That's their business, and I don't want to even think about trying to influence that. What I care about is Severn as part of the broader team that's interested in staying with the SSEA as an alternative, because I think a comprehensive review will really open some eyes. And when it comes, let's do it right.
So just to speak to that, Councillor Brennan, I think the issue here is that Tay is not happy with the increase, may leave and Georgian Bay. So both Councillor Taylor, Deputy Mayor Cox, and myself attended the Georgian Bay Severn Sound presentation as well as the Tay presentation. So if both townships leave, we may not have a Severn Sound, and we'll find ourselves in a predicament that we may not be happy with. And again, doing a review now, to your point, and to Councillor Minning's point, is going to cost more money. And I absolutely am in favor of a review to make sure that we're all paying our fair share. I'm not sure how Tay is going to feel about spending more money now based on their letter, because they, I think, want to back out from Severn Sound. They, for some reason, feel that it doesn't, like, their township is not in need of an environmental group like Severn Sound, which I struggle to believe. Anyway, just to clarify that, Councillor Brennan.
Yeah, no, and I fully realize, but nothing's going. If townships want to pull out because of their current views on costing, they're going to pull out no matter what. It doesn't. And if there's a 2-year notice period, then we have plenty of time to do a comprehensive review, because our cost ratios will change significantly based on the ones that pull out. As part of a comprehensive review, that would be pretty important, So to me, if 2 years is plenty of time, if this is the way some of the townships are going to go, we have the first year we can do a comprehensive review, make some decisions as to where we're going before the SSEA basically is sunk financially due to these decisions. But there's nothing we're going to do, and this study's not going to help at all in that regard. If they're going to go, they're going to go. And based on what I see, the report's not going to come out in favor of SSEA that I can see. It just doesn't have enough it's not comprehensive enough to do a proper evaluation.
Councillor Taylor.
As the mayor stated there, Severn Sound is working with 8 municipalities, and it needs the more. It's been working well for 15, 20 years, and I think we should be cognizant that we want to make sure that it's right, and we'd like to keep the members still there. We don't want to just say, "Go." Well, let's try and see if we can satisfy what their queries are, and hopefully they can remain on board. And there's even talk of trying to get the city of Aurelia to come back on board, because if they annex some areas of Township of Severn, they're going to be more in our watershed. So I'd like to do what we can to keep all 8 municipalities together. We don't want to lose the municipalities. Let's listen to our partners here. They've been great partners all the way along, and let's see what we can do here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Councillor Minnings.
Thank you, through the mayor. Yeah, I would hope that our response is a response to the municipality that sent us the correspondence, because we didn't receive anything from the SSEA. We didn't receive that letter from them. So in response to the letter that's in front of us now for response, is that we don't have the same concerns that municipality has right now. I don't know if we want to offer future things like a review, etc. It just feels to me like the one municipality is doing their due diligence and checking with the other municipalities who are partners in this association to see where they sit and if there are any concerns. So I would just like our response to be really clear and respond to the municipality.
Deputy Mayor Cox.
Yeah, to the chair. They did ask for a review in that motion, so that's fine. But I don't want the review done in the manner that they're talking about. So obviously, then I don't totally support their motion. I support the fact that they need to understand that we're fine with it, and then in the future, if we wanted to have a full review with it goes to the board, and let the board members talk about how it should be a full review, not just a review because there's 2 or 3 municipalities that don't like the amount of money they're paying.
Councillor Brennan. Councillor Brennan.
Yes, thank you, through the mayor. Yeah, I mean, if there was going to be a review, a real partnership would mean we are all involved in the review. We all have a say, and that's not what I see here. So that's not what I call a partnership. And I'm not just the township is, these townships they have their rights and they have their needs, and whatever they do, good luck to them. But we're not them.
Madam CEO.
Thank you, through your worship. I'm just trying to synthesize what I heard, because eventually the clerk will have to get a motion. But what I think I'm hearing is our response back is we don't have the same level of concerns. We are very satisfied with the services of SSEA. However, it is always good to review partnerships if the board, because we don't agree that it should have come from one municipality. It wasn't appropriate that it came to us. It should have come through the board to us. That's why we have recommended. If the board wants to do a review, we could support that as long as it was comprehensive and unbiased. And that takes whatever form it takes. The board will decide, whether it's a committee of members, different municipalities, whether it's a consultant, whatever. That's a board decision. So we're just saying we don't want a one-party review. If there's a review, we want to participate, and we want it to be fair and unbiased.
Perfect. Council okay with that? Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, just since wrapping up my points. So since the letter came from Tay to the mayor, so should we be responding to that letter with our views, exactly what the CAO outlined, saying we're happy, but we're free to pass it on to the Severn Sound Board for their review, and copy Severn Sound Board on what
Yeah, that's
on this thing. So I think that's sort of what I'm hearing from the mayor and deputy mayor and Councillor Brennan there. So, yeah.
Council okay with that? Okay, Madam Clerk, did you capture all that? Sorry.
Might need to give her a minute.
All right,
I'm working on it.
We'll give you 2.
Okay, so I think I have a motion for you. So in general terms, it's that the correspondence from the Township of Tay regarding Severn Sound Environmental Association, SSEA, be received, and that the correspondence be referred to the SSEA Board of Directors for review, and that the township send correspondence to SSEA expressing support for their services and noting that if a review is to be conducted, that it is a comprehensive review of the entire partnership agreement and is conducted by an independent third party. And
Councillor
staff,
Taylor?
and just to Councillor Taylor's point, we will send correspondence back to Tay directly as well. That would be just normal post-council business for myself.
Councillor Taylor?
Good. Yep.
Okay, great. Mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Taylor, second by Deputy Mayor Cox. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Moving on, announcements. Any announcements? No closed session. General bylaws, Madam Clerk.
Thank you. Motion reads that bylaws number 2024-33 to 2024-34 inclusive be and are hereby ready for a second, third time, and finally passed.
Mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Brennan, second by Councillor Minnings. All in favor? It's carried. Confirmation bylaw, Madam Clerk.
Thank you. Motion is that bylaw number 2024-35 be and is hereby ready for a second, third time, and finally passed.
Mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor McIntyre, second by Councillor Jansen. All in favor? That is carried. Adjournment, Madam Clerk.
Motion to adjourn.
Mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Taylor, second by Councillor Minnings. All in favor? That's carried. Have a great day, everyone. Enjoy, Mark. When are you back?
Tuesday.
Thanks. Okay.
Time
Take care.
flies.
Thank you.
Take care. Thanks for
Have a
everything.
good day.